And just like Infernobles, like this broken lighter, it doesn't work. It works. What is good, guys? Charles from Team COG coming at you guys with a new episode today that we are going to be calling the state of the game. It's going to be like a news anchor, kind of to bring you guys like news in the format, news and meta shifts, some news and just you name it, and just have a good time. So if you guys really like this type of video, please remember to give me a like and a comment, a like and a subscribe at the end of the video. I'm never going to ask you to like the video or subscribe before you even check it out, but if you happen to like it, you know what to do. So today, guys, we have field agents out in the field. We have field agents everywhere. We just had the extravaganza. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about, we just had a ban list. I was supposed to do a ban list thing, but then I was supposed to do a ban list prediction. Ban list dropped. And then all of a sudden, you know, it was just good. It seemed like everything was good. But today we're going to talk about the shifts in the meta. Whereas, you know, Dragon Link, and Infernoble. And we're just going to talk about what happened to those two strategies. Being pretty dominant in the meta, they didn't take that much of hits. Just as the skit before said with the broken lighter, Infernoble still works. Infernoble still puts up the same thing it did, just it doesn't get to play. It's not as resilient, and it doesn't get to just look at your hand and rip cards from your hand. Wow, who would have guessed that was unfair? But anyway, before we get into that, let's go ahead and jump over to our field agent, who is straight from the extravaganza. Flexi, how's the format?
The format sucks!
Thank you, Flexi. And as Flexi said, the format sucks because Konami, though they hit certain things, they kind of missed a lot of other things like VFD, Dragoons. But don't worry, guys. I know just the card to beat Dragoons. Time for Konami to free the peace. Kidding. Do not release Masterpiece. As much as I want Masterpiece, it's not good. It's not good. Especially two wrongs don't make a right. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, guys, right up here, I'm going to end up having the top 8 extravaganza. And yeah, I'm going to pull it up here on my screen so I can also read it for you guys and kind of get and see what's going on. We had the extravaganza this week, as most of you know. Huge turnout for remote duels, which is awesome. I'm a huge advocate for remote duels. I live in the middle of nowhere, and it takes me about 2 hours to 4 hours to get to the closest locals I have. So yes, I make the trudge almost every time I go to locals because it's worth it because I love this game. So anyway, right up here, like I said, as you guys can see, first place we have Drytron, which isn't, I mean, who did not see that coming? Drytron being released, the other meta decks getting whacked down. It was, you know, it was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So Drytron is just super consistent. Even if you hard droll that deck, like droll is the best card against that deck. And, you know, talking about strategies, you droll that deck, it's still just going to be able to put an Appaloosa for 4. And you better hope you have the ability to play through an Appaloosa for 4. If you don't, well, extend the handshake. If you do, get wrecked, Duelist. But then second place, we end up having Paleozoic. So Paleozoic is actually one that you're like, what? Why did this come out? Well, Paleozoic being a trap stun deck. The most combo deck in the format, or the most combo efficient deck, the best combo deck is Drytron. So if you're playing cards that counter Drytron, which I don't know if he was or not, but I just assume if you're playing a strategy that sets 5 and passes a chimp deck with a toad, you're playing cards that stop Drytron. And so there you go. Set 5 pass, and then not to mention Toad is back at 3. Pretty good. We have third Subterror, another chimp deck. Flippy floppy control is pretty good. Fourth, we have Eldritch. And I believe this is pure Eldritch. I do not know if it was Zodiac Eldritch, but again, helmet deck, flip flop. Golden Lord is still a good card. But before we move on to the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and 8th place, let's go and talk about Eldritch. Prior to this, we all know that when it was Dragon Links and the Infernobles were ruling the format, Eldritch had fell off. Eldritch had just disappeared into the wind like a bad thought. We thought the days were over. Eldritch was gone, guys. That one hit, the Jet Synchron, did the deck in completely. But they're back. They're back, and they're worse than ever before. Oh my gosh. But Eldritch, again, you can play multiple variants of Eldritch right here, as you guys can see. It's not telling me what type of Eldritch it is, so I'm just assuming it's a pure variant. It could be Zodiac Eldritch, which in that case, it is a helmet / Trident pop dot deck, which I mean, it works. It works by all means. But Eldritch being there, if you guys will notice, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place decks are all control-esque strategies. And I'm a combo player. It'll take Masterpiece, or we'll take Satellar Knights getting support for me to even touch a control deck for a while. I prefer to make my interruptions versus having to draw them and hope to open them. But if you are drawing or you open the right ones, or you're, and like not saying, as much as I love to make fun of, you know, control players being a chimp deck, You have to time their interruptions just right. If you strike at the wrong moment against a combo player and you don't strike the right thing, you see this? That's the smallest violin playing for you because you done messed up, Aaron. But then we move on to 5th place. We have PK Fire. That's awesome. I remember I first started playing again when PK Fire had just started. You know, when that whole PK Fire thing was going on. And Beatrice was at 3, dumping Farfas, dumping Farfas, dumping Farfas. But it's nice to see that taking 5th place. The new PK stuff is totally broken. It is like busted beyond belief. That's, you know, good on Konami for giving good support. Bad on Konami for giving good support. Moving on to 7th, Dinos. Dinos, I know, so this is the main event, just to kind of clarify. Dinos actually was huge there because Konami has not read MISC. They just refused to read it. So Dinos expected to be in the top 8. And I did not expect it to be so diverse. If you guys will notice, once we get to the 8th place, which is Salad. The Salad is still holding on, fighting for life. There's no 2 repetitions of a deck in the top 8, which is great to hear because it means it's a diverse open format, but there's multiple things to consider. One, Drytrons just got released, so the people had not had time to learn how to play it. Secondly, diverse formats are not always that good because it really hinders the side deck. So now, if what you're going to take is Salt, you know that Virtual World, you know that Drytron, you know that those were the 2 expected, and Dinosaurs. So that means there's 3 decks you have to side for. So it takes up a lot of side deck space. And I just clearly brushed over 6th place of Virtual World because I'd expected it to be there. Via Konami, now, just like they don't read MISC, they did not read VFD. So Virtual World still being able to do what it's going to do. It's a budget. It's affordable. To me, it reminds me of a Salad. It's a mid-range. I know it's not a good term that people don't like, but it's a mid-range strategy. That is not too bad. But, so now, guys, that is from the extravaganza. What our meta is going to look like? Is Paleozoic going to be the next top tier best deck? No. Pendulums? I ain't going to do it. I can't afford to flip my table, but just know that I'm flipping my table in my mind. But as you guys can see, top 8 out of 57 players in the main event were all diverse. That is great to see. That is great to hear. But let's go ahead and talk about what happened. Because let's talk about the fall of the meta of Infernobles, Dragon Link. Where are they? What happened to them? Was the hits that big of an impact that it caused people to not play that deck? No. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, that was not the scenario. What happened is you had significant impacts to the deck. Dragon Link still does the same thing it does. Infernoble can still do the same thing it does. And that's something I've tried to argue with people, is that all Infernoble does, Infernoble only puts up 3, sometimes 4 interruptions. It was the ability to look at the hand that made that deck busted. But the deck still does what it does, less resilient to hand traps, but still puts up 3 to 4 interruptions. But they don't get to look at your hand. So, is that such a turnoff for people to not play? I mean, Charles is a heck of a card. I mean, look at me. I'm a heck of a card. But why wouldn't they play it? Okay, well, you're going to say the hit's too great, it loses to more hand traps. Well, Dragon Link only lost Link Cross. Dragon Link is still just as resilient. Dragon Link doesn't even, brushed it off, banlist, but there was still no Dragon Link. So, my opinion, what the fall of the meta, it's almost like the fall of Rome. Eternal struggles and external pressure from Konami. Konami released Drytrons, which is hands down supposed to be the best deck. So you have all these players dropping off these decks, not just one deck. They dropped off Dragon Link, they dropped off Infernobles, and they moved to a better deck. Why would you play Infernobles, which loses to 1 hand trap, when you can play Drytrons that takes like 5 hand traps to lose? You do have the Loyalists that stay to the Noble Knight strategy. You do have the Loyalists that stay to the Dragon Link strategy. But when ban lists like this happen, you see how many people jump off the meta wagon. Not dissing people. If you want to play the game and you're competitive, you got to play what's good. You can't be like me and just play Rogue 24/7, 7 days a week, all the time. Or like me, when a meta deck falls in your hand, you're lucky to have it. But anyway, now that is the fall of the old meta. Now this is the rise of the new format. The rise of the new format. And currently, guys, the predictions, the prophecies foretold that it would be Drytron, which I very well remember making an hour-long video with my man Just Nuts, talking about how good this deck was going to be, and people just said it was watered-down implementation. So, check 1 for Just Nuts and Team COG, right? Right? We were right. The deck actually blew beyond what we thought. Ben 10's going to get an X, though. Let me tell you, Ben 10 don't cut her crap out. She's going to get taken down. But anyway, the rise of the new meta is Drytrons and Virtual World. I mean, when you have two tier 2 decks, well, Drytrons wasn't even there. Virtual World, let's just talk about Virtual World. Virtual World came out, it was good. It showed what it's done, despite a lot of people saying the deck bricks, and it actually showing that it bricks, it still can consistently put up its win condition, which is VFD. And in a format that's dominated by Dragonlinks and Infernobles, that showed to be just good enough. It wasn't top tier, but it was good enough to hang with those decks. You take those 2 decks away, the next best deck on the list, which is Virtual World, rises up. Dinosaurs. I don't even want to talk about Dinosaurs because the fact that that deck is still around gets to me. My man Ferg is going to be mad at me because he's a Dino player, but Misk deserved to go to 1, and everyone knows it. But it didn't, because Konami can't read. They make cards like Misk, but ban cards that do the exact same thing. Like Riddle Me This. Why is Dragoon still around, but Masterpiece is banned? Exactly. But, you know, just certain things like that. It was actually, like, if you guys, like, remember the pie chart, it was just a diverse format. But these rise of the new meta decks, I think we'll see. Dinos are always that weird deck. They pop up, they smack around, they go all Jurassic Park, and then they go extinct just in time to dodge the ban list, except for the one time where they got hit on it. And after that, we never saw them maintain a current strong in a format yet. Now that could change because the format's young. The one thing to note is this Extravaganza is the first remote duel Konami supported tournament that we've had, so it's, you know, we can't really totally take everything by heart. But again, Dinos come in, they smack, they go bye-bye, they disappear just in time to dodge a ban list, while these other decks are out there buffing up, trying to, you know, strut their stuff, and Konami's like, hey, we see you. We might not hit you correctly, or we might not hit you directly, but we see you. But anyway, guys, that is it for the state of the game. If you guys enjoy this segment, please remember to give me a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And comment what you guys would like to see. I really enjoyed doing this segment. I really enjoyed having Flexi do that scene. I enjoyed the skit. Let me know what you guys would like to know, because if I continue to do these, I'm going to incorporate other YouTubers with me. So I'm going to, you know, it's just fun. So just let me know what you guys like. And if you guys enjoyed this, this is Charles from Team COG, signing out.